Welcome back, everybody, to 31 Days of Horror. And yeah, we're going back into the 50s now. We have kind of languished in the 70s and some of the 80s for a little bit now. So I figured we'd go back a bit. And we are going to take a look at 1954's Them. So this is directed by Gordon Douglas, who also did really well for fantastic film noirs like Between Midnight and Dawn and Walk a Crooked Mile. Also dabbled in the Western as well with Bacarero and Rio Conchos. But in terms of other horror films, I've not seen anything else from him like this. But yeah, this is a science fiction giant monster horror film. Clocks in at 94 minutes long. Stars the likes of James Whitmore, who was also in the fantastic film noir The Asphalt Jungle, as well as Planet of the Apes and Madigan. Also stars James Arness, who was the Thing in The Thing from Another World. We'll probably be looking at that at some point this October as well as Edmund Gwenn, who was in The Miracle on 34th Street, the 1947 original, as well as The Trouble with Harry and The Bigger Miss. So, in terms of horror films with the lead cast, not really seen all that much from them, unfortunately. But nonetheless, as a result of nuclear testing, gigantic, ferocious mutant ants appear in the American desert southwest, and a fathered up the team of entomologists join forces with the state police officer who first discovers their existence, an FBI agent, and eventually the US Army to eradicate the menace before it spreads across the continent and the world. So, this is easily one of the finest examples of its type from the 50s and a personal favourite of mine. And that's all thanks to good pacing, a strong focus on the police procedural element, and then in the first 20 or so minutes, which initially grounds the film. And then we get the bring in the scientists for another 10 minutes or so, and then the monster action kicks in, all in less than half an hour, which is really efficient and really well done. There are characters that we also become invested in thanks to the solid script. It has a well done score, the cinematography is on point, the effects are obvious in execution and less effective, so and also well executed. So they are basically just giant puppets, but they're there with everyone in the real world as well. They're not just shot separately, or they're not stop motion, or they're not just like superimposed on the image like Bertie Gordon did a lot of the time, which is mostly why his films generally don't rate highly with me. But here they are there in the real world. They are in camera with the people on film, and yeah, they just really are effectively done. Yes, it's obvious, you can see that the puppets and such, but I still think it's really well done, and it is overall engaging throughout. So yeah, absolutely superb effort. Like I said, one of my absolute favourite monster films from the 50s. For me, ranks alongside the likes of Beast from 20,000 Fathoms and 20 million miles to Earth and such and such. So yeah, I highly recommend this if you haven't seen it. Now this is was part of the HMV Premium Collection. So that's basically where they bought the rights to sell certain films, usually via Warner Brothers, which this one is, and then they'd repackage it in a certain way with these kind of slipcovers where there's silver bit on the top, and then it usually come with art cards or a poster. And this was actually the first one in that collection. I think they did about 160 or so before Warner Brothers pulled the plug on them releasing or licensing them out. And because most of them were Warner Brother releases, they really couldn't continue, unfortunately. But yeah, the premium collection, quite frankly, brought many of films to my attention that I hadn't seen, and some of my all-time favorite films have been part of that collection. So yeah, and this is one of them. So it comes with Blu-ray and a DVD. If you want the old kind of way of watching this, watch it on DVD, as it will look the part a bit more than the Blu-ray. But the Blu-ray still looks really rather good, and we also get some art cards as well with this release. We get 3 of them, so minor spoilers for the film. There they are fighting them. Is that in? Yeah, they go to the LA River tunnels and fight them there as well. And another desert shot. So as you can see, it is like a giant puppet or miniature or anything that however you want to call it. But yeah, they are there with the actual people in the film as well, and that for me is impressive as it is, because could have easily just shot a tiny miniature and trying to make it look like it was there in the real world, or did the more expensive stop motion animation kind of thing. But to actually have them there and then in the world with people is pretty good, and yeah, certainly lends it a little bit of weight to the overall proceedings. So yeah, overall a really good effort, and one that I highly enjoy. And in terms of special features on this release, we had a behind the scenes archive footage montage on the design and operation of the giant ants, as I assume it took quite some work to operate these 8-9 foot long, you know, pieces of equipment basically, because they yeah, are gigantic, and that makes them all the scarier, quite frankly. Now, granted, this doesn't have the kind of spectacle or destruction that you'd see in other similar kind of films. You know, you're not knocking down skyscrapers or invading a city or anything like that, and that is due to the limitation of the technology and the budget that they had. But I still think it's enjoyable enough, and the action does kick in a lot sooner than your other comparable effort, where you might get some action in the last final 15 or 20 minutes, whereas in this, it's within less than half an hour that we see them for the first time, and then the final half hour or so is reasonably action packed as well. So, yeah, overall, a really good effort. It's a 4.5 out of 5, and one that I highly recommend if you're trying to get into your giant monster radiation kind of films from the 50s, which this is certainly at the top of the cream of the crop, quite frankly. But yeah, nonetheless, thank you for watching. If you have seen this film before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.